And hello there, everyone. I was joined on early. Sorry for the delayed start of the stream. I was watching the end of the Euro football game for England, who absolutely managed to fluke their way through that last game. For anyone that was watching it or cares about football, I'm not really a big football fan myself, but I do watch the England games now and again. But here we are today for, unfortunately, this is the replays. The match was played at 4 in the morning UK time, so I wasn't around to cast it live. So this will be being cast from replays. I do not know the score. I don't know how many games were played. I don't know who won. Once again, for anyone that does know any of the results or anything, please no spoilers for everyone in the chat, etc. But I do have the draft set from the games, or I thought I did. There we go. And this is the winners final. The winners bracket final between Saymyname and Miniyeti. So the winner of this game will advance on to the grand final, which will be held hopefully sometime within the next week, possibly next weekend. I think we have some of the losers bracket games still to play. Hiya, Jesse. And obviously Miniyeti did get a free pass to the winners final, as Cool wasn't able to play his semi-final game against Yeti. So a bit disappointing that we didn't get to see that action, but then obviously that means Yeti's got a big chance here against Saymyname to try and get himself in the grand final. At this point, both of these players are guaranteed top 3, because the loser will just drop down to the losers final and still have a chance of playing in the grand final. But yeah, like I said, with some of the losers bracket games still to play, I think it's Bongo against Unrestricted, and then whoever wins that game will advance on to play the loser of this series. But without further ado, we will get into the map picks. So yeah, obviously both players are going to get 3 picks because it's best of 7. First map, as always, is going to be Highland. Miniyeti banning out Sahara. It's been quite a popular map in recent series. Just one of the more open ones. Continental banned by Saymyname. Be interesting to see if we do see some of the more closed maps. Ocean Rings picked by Miniyeti. Will Saymyname just go for the more land maps? I'm not 100% sure. I can't really remember what. I feel like Saymyname does prefer to play those more open games. Plays quite an aggressive all-in style. I've seen a lot of games this tournament, as well as in the Rise of the Ancients League games, where he sort of gets himself to tool and just goes all in the tool age. That said, though, he does pick inside out, and as I've said before, a few times before, I don't mind having at least one closed map in the pool, just because it means some of the sort of there's a lot of civs that are only really good on the closed map, so it makes the civ draft a little bit more interesting. Let's see what Miniyeti goes for. If he goes for maybe another sort of water hybrid map, or if he takes Dark Forest, interesting. Me and Jesse played that map as a bit of a joke in the in the Legion Division games that we were playing earlier in the week. Jesse tried to sneak a little villager forward, but I was playing Mace and spotted it. Hiya, Bongo. How you doing, man? But yeah, Dark Forest, I don't think he's picked by anyone in the Contenders Clash. It's a bit of an odd map. Desert Ridge. So Saymyname going for one of those land maps. Again, sometimes Desert Ridge can be quite close. Sometimes you can get like those very close wood lines that make it quite easy to play very defensive. But then you can also have more open maps as well. Makes that map a little bit hard to predict. Inland from Miniyeti and Oasis from Saymyname. So a decent variety of maps here with, like I said, inside out the more closed map. Ocean Ring, a bit more of a water map. Inland usually has at least some elements of water on it, but it's always a little bit up in the air whether you get that central river or not on the map. And then Dark Forest, it'll be interesting to see if we do have this map being played. and how that goes. What civs people decide to go. I feel like it's kind of weird because there's kind of two ways of playing this. Sometimes you can either go for like the sneak early villager and just try and play a really aggressive civ, or if you think you can just plug the hole and stop any early villagers from getting through, maybe just go for more of an eco civ. It's a bit of a weird call on Dark Forest because sometimes it's like actually harder to close off that those entrances to your base than you think it is. Obviously in Age of Empires 2 Black Forest it's a little bit easier when you have Palisade Wall. But yeah, no bans in the best of 7. It's just 8 picks for both players. So Shang and Lakviat have been traded off. So Saymyname, will be interesting to see what his go-tos are. Does okay, I guess just goes for the strong all-round Yamato, which I like to see. Persian's possibly picked up for Miniyeti for the Oasis map. Can also be good on Ocean Ring as well. Phoenicians is obviously one of my favourite civs, just to go as an all-round civ, and Palmyrans, that may be for the Ocean Ring as well. I've seen Miniyeti go for the 16-Ville Rush on that map, as well as a few other players tried to go on other maps as well. I'm still not 100% convinced the 16-Ville Rush is better for Palmyrans than it is for other civs. I still need to do the maths on that. That's a good question, Rahish, and welcome to the chat. First time chat. Yeah, Saymyname, obviously a very, very strong player, but Miniyeti is no slouch himself. I feel like Miniyeti is probably at the slight disadvantage here, but I would not be surprised if Miniyeti does at least take a couple of games in the series. But yeah, it's Minoans and Hittites picked up. Mason Babylonians trade off. So Phoenicians still not chosen yet. So that feels like a pretty free civ pickup, as well as Romans and Karth. So quite a few civs going down the pecking order. Babylonians pick up reasonably early, possibly just to try. Sometimes people try to pick Babylonians into Hittites just to cancel out the Hittite +1 attack bonus for their archery range units. You get the +1 pierce armor on the chariots for Babylonians, of course. But yeah, again, Phoenicians and Carthaginians slipping down the order strikes me as somewhat surprising. The Phoenicians, like I said, just a very good all-round civ, pretty much playable on any map. And Carth just with a nice strong start to the game. I'm surprised Saymyname in particular hasn't picked up Carth. And yeah, slightly odd draft in my opinion. Chosen being picked up as well. Again, just Carth and Phoenicians considered two very high-tiered civs in the game. And I imagine they'll get picked up by someone eventually, with just what's left in the draft. Greeks maybe just be forgotten. The Greeks are more of just a citadel civ, really. Phoenicians is picked up by Miniyeti, so finally that civ is picked up. So I would have thought probably Karth and Assyrians would be the picks from the Saymyname, and so it is. And well, Miniyeti has the leftover choice of the Greeks or Cimmerians. I feel like yeah, he would probably take the Cimmerians here. He may not use that civ, obviously with 7 maps, 8 civs, so they don't have to use all the civs. But again, I don't feel like there's really a map you would specifically want to choose the Greeks outside of like the more closed maps. I mean, there still is Inside Out, but Inside Out has much more potential to go for those tool age rushes on, and it is the Cimmerians picked up. So in the end, well, because of the draft, pretty much all the civs do end up getting drafted. But like I said, I'm a little bit surprised that Karth and Phoenicians got picked up so late in the draft. And just yeah, again, Dark Forest is a little bit of an enigma. I'm not really sure exactly what these two players will consider good civilizations for Dark Forest, and obviously it's a little bit hard to speculate on civs right from the get-go. But I mean, possibly we just see the Shang Lakviat face up on the first map on Highland. Like I said, we are going from the replay files because this was played very early in the morning. So without further ado, I will just get us in to the first game. And like I said, we'll have to see what civs are pulled out. I'll just mute the music here and then get ourselves into game and load up the first game. I've made it so I can't actually see the chat, so I'll actually make it so I can see you beautiful people if you want to join in. And so yep, first game obviously Highland. Okay, interesting. So Shang is the pick from Saymyname, but Miniyeti pulling out the Macedonians for game 1 here. And like I said, I'll get us into the game ASAP. There's a little bit of a lag as Capture Age sort of loads itself up. I thought I had opened Capture Age. Evidently I did not. And yeah, the Macedonians are kind of a little bit of a wild card civilization, I feel like. They have the extra line of sight bonus, which Miniyeti is going to use straight up. Just realised I've got a Capture Age update. So at the end of this game, I will update my Capture Age. Let's get rid of that message. And also I need to update the scoreboard. It's going to be best of 7, and it's not unrestricted. It's Miniyeti. And we'll give him his full title, Miniyeti 67. We'll get the game started up. But yeah, Miniyeti going for the centre straight away. Going to try and grab those elephants right off the bat. Saymyname going to be a little bit slow. He might catch this one elephant from the sort of outer ring from the centre. Miniyeti looks like he's sort of returning in a different way. This is always a good thing to try and do, is just get a little bit more exploration. Although that said, is he going to go down here? I was expecting him to go down here, but maybe it's just like how wide this bush is. Tree line, I should say. But yeah, Saymyname is going to find an extra elephant. And it'll be interesting to see if he does commit to try and find that one. But yeah, usually what's a good idea is to try and return to your base a slightly different route. That way you will do just a bit more exploration. So he isn't going to grab that elephant there, as I thought he might do. Saymyname looks like he's just going to settle for the one from the centre. And he may spot the... Ooh, okay, the villager takes a bit of a whack, but he may see his elephant on the way back here. But yeah, the Macedonians, obviously, their main unit is their academy units with the extra pierce armor and conversion resistance. Makes them quite hard to deal with the usual counters of priests and ranged units being nullified somewhat, which means a lot of the time you kind of have to face off Macedonians with just hoplites of your own to just give yourself a bit of a front line against that powerful melee units. But obviously Shank should have the massive eco edge for most of the early game, if not all of the game, as long as Saymyname keeps that villager production going. Be interesting to see. Oh yeah, didn't it? Yes, yeah. I'll just reset the score real quick. Thank you, Kava. Just quickly do that. Gets back in. Yes, it's just when Capture Age identifies one of the same players that was in the last series that I watched. So the last series I watched was Saymyname against Unrestricted, and for some reason it just decides that both the players are the same. But anyway, Saymyname already sending a villager forward, and a little bit more idle time from Miniyeti, not too surprising from Mace, just because, like I said, no real eco bonus. You're basically just relying on your extra villager scouting to try and find those extra resources and help set yourself up nicely with your eco. And he is going to... It's not the best storage pit for the wood line, but obviously it is going to help him get the gazelle in the short term. This gazelle doesn't... Okay, yep. They've got mines of their own, do the gazelles, but yeah, storage pit's going to go up at the back for Saymyname. There is a small gap at the edge of the map there he does need to be careful of. And in fact, that's something I've not talked about too much, is the actual maps themselves. It's quite wide open on this side, but okay, anyway, maybe don't have time for that actually, as Saymyname going up on 19 vills. A little bit of idle time, quite high for Shank, for players of this level. I think that villager, yeah, obviously a Macedonian villager line of sight much higher. So maybe this forward was a little bit foolhardy against Mace. That's another good thing about the extra line of sight, is you can always have a much larger chance of spotting the forward. So yeah, the villager going to be caught out. Does same. There we go. Yeah, Miniyeti obviously knows that he has the line of sight advantage, so that's the villager slips through, I should say. So 3 villagers committed to the forward for Saymyname. Barracks isn't down yet. Barracks is going to go down at home. It's always good to see that, because sometimes people commit to just putting the barracks down like far too late. That just leaves them exposed. But yeah, villager battle is going to be happening in a couple of the spots, but Saymyname is going to be able to win this fight. Okay, it's interesting that Miniyeti didn't commit to that fight in the end. Tried to sort of run at the last minute. Barracks is going to go up for Miniyeti forward, but obviously Saymyname already in the tool age himself, just going tool working. So is this going to be a forward stable? And it is. Miniyeti doing just a nice job of picking off that villager there, though. So Saymyname should still be able to win this villager trade, so the stable will go up, though obviously it will be somewhat delayed. And yeah, Saymyname just trying to focus on getting the building up rather than attacking the village. Looks like, yeah, he's got a slight high ground advantage there. There's a little bit of a slope. And another villager goes down, so it's only 3 villagers to 1. I can see Saymyname still with 3 villagers forward, and all the fighting has been happening with the Ville so far. Clubber out for Miniyeti. No upgrades as of yet. Getting the tool working in now. And Watchtower's going to go up to defend the wood line. Villagers a little bit exposed, but should be able to just fight the clubber at the moment. Needlework is in, so the clubber not really an issue. And the first scout is already out. Armour in as well. Is Needlework in? Yeah, Needlework is in for Miniyeti. And he does manage to get up that wall on the front side, but obviously he's still very exposed on the top side as well as the left side. And another scout managed to be squeaked into queue. And GG is just called on the spot. And wow, that was a very hectic first game. And I thought Miniyeti had done enough to sort of hold the position. But this is like, in terms of like seeing the spot in the villages and etc. But this is kind of the problem when you commit to the going forward barracks, but you're slower to the tool age, is you're just always going to be a little bit slower, that aggression. And Saymyname just, yeah, with the tower and the needlework in nice and early, easily contesting the first couple of clubbers that comes through. And yeah, 4-1 in villagers, but I think most of those were literally villager trades. And Saymyname just committing more villagers forward. Like I was hesitant, obviously that's a lot of lost eco time, but it just meant that he got his buildings down and could win those early trades. Yeah, it's always a little bit hard to tell in the moment. Hello, Miniyeti. So, yeah, quick 1-0 to Saymyname there. That does mean Saymyname has used the shank, and I will go back to the draft just for the sake of this series, just because there's a little bit more on the line. So that meant that the shank won off against the Macedonians. And the second map, I can't do this without actually spoiling it, I've just realised, so we won't do too much speculation. There we go, we'll just go back. I was going to sort of go for... Oh, yeah, I need to update my capture age real quick so I can actually have a quick look at the map. So let me just restart my capture age. I'm going to get that updated. For game 2, updates. Is it updated? I think we're updated. Okay. Anyways, so map 2 is going to be Ocean Ring. So we're going to take us straight there. And we do see Miniyeti with the Persians this time. And it's going to be against the Minoans. Hiya, Katie. So obviously... Oops, that's the wrong button. That's the button I was trying to go for. So the Persians are quite nice on this map just because the usual play is just to grab your early elephants. And obviously, I mean, immediately taking advantage of that Persian bonus right for the beginning of the game. Both of Miniyeti's wood lines out the back. His Gazelle's actually positioned quite nicely for a storage pit at the back here, potentially. That does mean he doesn't have a great spot to put a storage pit down and like double up on fish, which a lot of the players sometimes like to try and do. But obviously, the Minoans, just the classic Age of Empires 1 water map civ with their cheaper docks, cheaper fishing ships, cheaper warships. A lot of stuff to like about playing the Minoans on any water map. It looks like Saymyname just having a little look around before he commits to a storage pit anywhere. And I would expect the storage pit to sort of go around here for Miniyeti now that he sees his Gazelle. Maybe, okay, he's just going to shove him around a bit. But yeah, it does go there now. Gazelle's not actually as good now because he sort of pushed a little bit of that out of the way. But yeah, second elephant going to come in nice and quick. Potentially, Saymyname could go for like a dock block and try and like dock on the house here. Maybe try and put the dock up here. Obviously, he would have to dock again on the other side there to actually finish the block up. Does have a quite open crossing, but obviously the wood line here is covering off a lot of that. So fairly easy to defend, whereas Miniyeti's, yeah. Actually, this is quite interesting. You don't normally see like the big thick wood line immediately across from your starting area. Miniyeti already going for a villager out. And in fact, just look at the map in general. I feel like this is quite rare that you're like exactly opposite your opponent on this map. Normally it's like slightly skewed to one side or the other. And let's see how if Miniyeti maybe goes up on a lower villager count or not. He's putting down another house, so that's opened his pop cap up to 20. Which makes me feel like we're at least going for 18 vills for the time being. Second elephant just being pulled in. Saymyname, I guess, just grabbing a bit of wood after building the house. He didn't put down a dock in the end. Doesn't really have the wood for it at the moment. Putting a few more. Ooh, okay, I think that was a little bit of a mistake. That villager just gathering a bit of stone there. But yeah, the villager from Yeti is going to find the crossing now. And we are, let's have a look. We're still making vills, yeah, but Yeti has stopped making vills. So I think potentially, okay, no, there was just a moment there where we just went and didn't have it in the queue, but forward barracks is going to be down. And I guess it's just going to be 20 pop up still, or is it just going to stop on 19? Okay, looks like we're going to stop on 19 here. And Miniyeti clicking up on 19. Saymyname. Looks like he's going to go for a similar approach, but a little bit more idle TC time. Again, obviously the Persian hunting bonus helping out. And there we go, the dock being used to block off this side of the map. I'm pretty sure that's blocked off there. And there we go, the dock blocking off the second side of the map there. So this could possibly prevent the forward clubbers from doing too much for the time being. Obviously, at the moment, we're still relying on houses as part of that wall, and those are quite flimsy, as we all know. Don't want to have to overly rely on houses for our walls in AOE 1. Villager doing quite a long range fishing there. I don't know if that was a misclick or if maybe Saymyname is waiting for the wood. Well, he has plenty of wood. I was going to say put another dock up, but yeah. There we go. With that, a couple of fishing ships being added in. Dock forward as well for Miniyeti. Looks like he's just waiting to age up to get the AXA upgrade in. And tool working straight away. And battle axe upgrade straight away as well. 4 clubbers pop out from the barracks. I feel like the second barracks hasn't actually done anything yet. So a little bit of a waste of wood at this point. But that said, house is going to be under threat. Especially when the tool working comes in. And Saymyname doesn't have a barracks. He does have this small wall tech just in though. So yeah, he's just going to wall up. He's going to need to wall up behind this house as well though. And it looks like he's going to have to rely on scout ships coming out to defend the position for the time being. And he's going to need to put another couple of houses down so he doesn't actually get housed when this... Okay, he's already on that. I hadn't seen that on the left side. So a couple of scout ships already popping out. And that's going to be able to deal with the forward docks that Miniyeti is already putting down. And yeah, slingers, not really a match for scout ships. They do have 3 pierce armor, so the scout ships don't do only 2 damage, but obviously scout ship has an awful lot of HP. Like I said, and it looks like just having those docks being able to block off and that wood line being in the centre there has really helped Saymyname defend the position well. Axes not really going to get much done now. And obviously Saymyname is just going to be much better position, economically speaking. He's already got a few fishing boats out. Actually, I guess it's only the 2 for the time being. But yeah, just setting up his water for himself. Obviously the Persians do have the bonus of the faster firing scout ship line, but then it's going to be a question of quality against quantity, with the Minoans being able to just have usually a larger mass of ships with a discount on their ships that I mentioned earlier in the game. But yeah, the Tool land army kind of a little bit useless at this point. Saymyname just going to clear up that forward dock, and then yeah, he's going to start hunting for his opponent. Miniyeti still is adding in slingers for the time being, so he's going to try and commit to pushing through the walls. I feel like if Saymyname just has any number of scout ships on the crossing, though, this doesn't work. But obviously, if Saymyname goes to try and push his opponent, that may leave him vulnerable for a moment. Just trying to hide that Tool Age army away for the time being. I imagine stone mining... Okay, stone mining's not actually in yet, so Miniyeti's going to need a bit of extra stone. Looks like he's going to start long hauling a little bit of stone. Actually, not too bad of a distance there. Just probably get an extra 10 stone in, get the stone mining tech. Although Granary only just coming down now means he doesn't actually have access to the market yet to get stone mining. But yeah, Saymyname, 40 eco, just, yeah, the fishing boats starting to add up. Make that lead very much in Saymayname's favour. And yeah, just holding these scout ships at the crossing at the moment. It's not going to give Miniyeti a chance to use the crossing himself. And yes, it's already starting to look a little bit rough for Miniyeti. It's going to be quite behind. Don't really know. Light transport being built by Saymyname. I feel like that must be a misclick. Unless maybe he is just trying to actually... I know, it looks like maybe he will actually try and transport these clubbers out. So maybe that is intentional. These clubbers don't have any upgrades on them. Might be just for a little bit of exploration on the land. Okay, interestingly, another storage pit going up at the back here. Obviously, that could have just been a dock, so it's kind of funny that Saymyname went for that. The resources are starting to run a little bit thin, so the players will need to start thinking about moving out onto the main island, or Saymyname in particular, when they start thinking about that. And well, Saymyname already up to the Bronze Age here, woodworking coming in as well now. Going to see a little bit of a fight in the water, but yeah, Saymyname just massive numbers advantage, should easily win this. Potentially, Miniyeti just calls GG. Oh, okay, here we go with the slingers here. So, like I said, the scout ships, if they were defending the crossing, so yeah, Saymyname's easily going to win this trade here. Are the slingers going to be able to get anything done? There are 3, now 4 scout ships, so I feel like the answer is probably no. A few slingers have, villagers have gone down, trying to muster a defense on the walls here. Like I said, the slingers do resist quite a lot of the arrow fire. And now Bronze Age is in. And these slingers, they're just not going to be able to do enough here. And I imagine GG, yeah, will be called fairly soon now. Oh, that's definitely not the score. It's 2-0 to Saymyname. And yeah, that's maybe a little bit unlucky for Miniyeti there, the spawn of the map favoured the defence for Saymyname quite a lot, and like I said, we did have the opportunity to just double dot block, which is exactly what Saymyname did. And as the Minoans, you're not really in any rush to get anything done. You just get set yourself up with your early eco. As soon as you get those docks up and going, you're always going to have an advantage if you can hold the position. But yeah, Miniyeti tried to use the Persian Civ to go aggressive. But yeah, again, map didn't lend itself to the aggression. Saymyname able to hold off fairly easily. Yeah, just those walls coming pretty much straight away. And then the scout ships kind of just sealing the deal. So we go to game 3. And let's get ourselves back. So game 3 is going to be on Dark Forests is the map. I've managed to look at that without spoiling it myself. So we go into Ocean Ring, and our Dark Forest is going to be the pick. And we did have the Minoans win up against the Persians. Again, I'm not really sure what the civs, the players, will think is appropriate for this map. If you do just go for go for a more boom approach, or if you do go for some sneakiness. Potentially Assyrians could be quite nice here, just slip that villager in a little bit faster. But yeah, maybe Miniyeti goes for the Palmyrans, just have those. You kind of can go for the villager rush or for the long game as well, so maybe that's the pick from Miniyeti here. I just realised I'm not actually showing the draft here. There we go. Although I've pretty much finished talking about it now. But yeah, Dark Forest is going to be the next map. Imagine Yamato would save for some time later. Yeah, it's a little bit hard to, like I said, predict what the civs might be for Dark Forest. I'm going to say Palmyrans for Miniyeti, and I'm going to say Assyrians for Saymyname, even though it was his last pick, just as a sort of wild card in that. So we'll see what did get chosen in the end. And the maps civs were... Okay, Sumerians was the pick from Miniyeti, so it wasn't the Palmyrans, it was one of the other eco civs, and it's actually Egyptians for Saymyname, which could be... This could be quite an interesting matchup if the game does go to the Bronze Age. For both fairly decent eco civs. And we'll get ourselves in. I'm going to let you guys actually see the capture age view. And it's a very open front to the bases. Sometimes what can happen is between the bottleneck there's like little pockets of trees, and it's quite easy to just house wall some of the section. Like sometimes you get sections like this, but this is the entire front of the base where you can just sometimes put a couple of houses down. But yeah, the openings fairly open for both players. Miniyeti already going to scout the opening himself. It's kind of the funny little loop around to the right hand side. There's not really anything of significance there. It's just wood, crocodile and an artifact. Nothing of real too much value here. And artifacts in the centre from Miniyeti is going to let him have a little bit extra exploration. Saymyname going forward with the villager now. We'll see if this... It'd be interesting if he thinks this is the bottleneck. No, it should open. He should realise because it will open up again. But yeah, villager already forward for Miniyeti. And like I said, this is maybe you should like index into a more aggressive civ on this map, just because it is so easy to slip a villager through and have the false sense of security. But Saymyname is going to find the actual proper bottleneck now. This villager here is actually they're going to spot each other here. I don't know if that was just Saymyname looking for elephants. Okay, looks like Saymyname didn't notice though. And Miniyeti didn't look like he made any evasive manoeuvres there. So this villager is going to slip by. Like I said, I think Saymyname wasn't paying attention. So, sneaky villager hiding in the wood line. And I think this villager's probably just going to sit back and chill for the time being until Miniyeti gets to the point where he can get a barracks up. Start trying to get something done. Just house kind of placed in the middle there gives Saymyname a small chance of noticing anything coming through the bottleneck. But obviously we know Miniyeti's already on this side of the map. Miniyeti just scouting the edge of the map, probably trying to find those elephants like I said. And yeah, you do just get the 2 elephants on this map. Couldn't remember if you got like some bonus ones like down in the corners, but most of the eco is really kind of focused around your immediate town centre. There's not really that many extra resources, maybe like just a couple of like gold piles for both players. Ooh, is this artifact going to give the game away? Villager's going to go straight away. I think that's continuing the movement, because an artifact, if you've given it instruction, it keeps doing it even if it switches player. And this villager's going to get caught out. Oh, the artifact finding the villager. And Miniyeti took the first hit. Oh yeah, obviously it's the Saymyname villagers. Like, I was like, how is he winning this? How is he winning the trade? But yeah, Saymyname villager gonna survive for the time being. Is he gonna manage to get back, fade back into the darkness? To say my name, find the villager again. But yeah, obviously both players on the way to Tool Age now. 18 vills up for Miniyeti, 20 for Say My Name. So yeah, it looks like Miniyeti was committing to try and get that early barracks down and a bit of a rush going. And that plan has gone a little bit awry. Say My Name sending... Okay, it's just going to push the gazelle. I was thinking if it was another villager trying to hunt down. And okay, the villager's going to get spotted again. And I'm pretty sure... Yeah, that's too much of a HP advantage now. So, barracks is going to go up at home for Miniyeti. And once again, the plan has been foiled. And this puts Say My Name already in a fairly nice position. 22 seconds less idle TC time. And it looks like Miniyeti lost a villager to an elephant as well at some point. Already one eco death. And now he's going to lose another. So he's going to be 3 villagers behind when this village eventually gets its lights knocked out. Clubber coming out from Say My Name now. Obviously barracks defensive and archery range defensive as well. Clubber maybe come across, get the killing blow here if Say My Name is paying attention. Or not, as the case may be. Any moment now. There we go. There it is. But yeah, defensive tower. It's a little bit awkwardly placed, I must say. It's not quite defending the wood line here, but it is defending obviously most of the gazelle. And scouts coming out straight away for Miniyeti. Obviously, I don't know if that was just a singular scout for just scouting purposes. Obviously, that's quite a big commitment for adding the stable in. He's gonna be able to. I don't think he's gonna be able to pick off this vill with the axe up there. Same I'm trying to quick wall, but yeah, with the axe upgrade already in, the scouts not gonna be able to do too much. Say My Name. Not exactly sure why he was sending his axe all the way around there. Just maybe having a little look around, but I think like that might have been a slight misclick. But Say My Name is gonna commit to walling up the center of the map now. It's one scout, maybe a little bit tricky. Needlework is already in for Say My Name though, so as long as he's paying attention, shouldn't take too much damage from that scout there. As we see, there we go. Scout trying to be a bit of a nuisance. Bow's already out in a decent number. Granary going to go up on the extra berries. You do get an extra couple of patches of berries on this map. But yeah, Scout just trying to be annoying more than anything else. And yeah, gets trapped in the villagers there. Taken down. Say My Name ahead, 4 vills. For the upgraded Axa, I think, yeah, needlework. Oh, sorry, again, he's Sumerian, so he gets needleworking for free. well, plus the extra plus 5 HP since we nerfed needleworking a little bit, or needlework I should say. And now, yeah, he's going to see the wall that's been placed in the middle of the map. And Saymyname does actually have a little bit of high ground that you could use, put his like bows possibly on the corner there. Get him a little bit of extra damage. Potentially maybe a tower comes down just to defend the position as well. Saymyname already with woodworking coming in. So, again, Miniyeti looking a little bit on the back foot in the position. Slingers are being switched into here. But, see, a little bit of high ground again. There's little bits of hills here and there for the players to try and play around, but I think Saymyname just has the weight of numbers. Like I said, that no, in this position, this tower's not really defending much. The granary right on the edge, Bury workers forced to evacuate. And Bo's just plinking away. Slingers being annoying in the back though. Currently keeping Miniyeti in this. And for the time being, Saymyname just pulls back behind the wall. May lose his bow here, that's gone a little bit rogue. Okay, Saymyname reforms the formation. And again, yeah, like I said, using that little bit of high ground. It'd be interesting if... It would be funny if this runes had like a count for how many times it gets converted. Might see that flicker back and forward quite a bit. And I believe that's still that one axer right at the back of the gate base, yeah, just patrolling around. The gate will eventually go down if Saymyname doesn't push for any time soon. At the moment it's just... Okay, actually, there we go, he's adding slingers in his zone in now. So both players sort of committing to the tool age. Yeah, stone mining coming in as well. Stone mining not in for Miniyeti. But yeah, once you've got a big mass of bows and slingers together with both the range, the woodworking and the stone mining upgrades in, it's quite hard to deal with that composition. The only real way to do it is if you manage to get a good mass of scouts, and obviously scouts are a very expensive unit. Stone mining is coming in now for Miniyeti. Yeah, 10 vills behind at this point. He's going to have a very good trade here to have a chance of pushing forward on his opponent. Axer gets taken down, a few units going down here or there. Miniyeti forced to kite back in the situation. First couple of slingers going to tank some shots for Saymyname. And Miniyeti doing a good job just focusing around the slingers. Does pick off the slinger now. Again, he does have a little bit of a high ground advantage with a few of his units. Maybe he could have positioned here. But he's kind of just letting the archers do their thing. I think a fairly decent trade in the end for Miniyeti. But fairly decent. Kind of isn't really enough here. He needs to get a very one-sided victory, so like I said, to give him the chance to try and push forward. Barracks being placed forward here just so that reinforcements can come in much quicker. And Saymyname got himself a good number of units up now. It's 5 to 13 and GG's called. Like I said, I feel like it was a decent trade by Miniyeti, but obviously just the next wave of military from Saymyname. Backing that up pretty quickly. 3-0 to Saymyname. And again, just maybe Miniyeti just getting a little bit unlucky again with the... where is it? It's a little bit further back. With the artifact going around. I feel like this is just Saymyname searching for his elephant here. And it was just sheer coincidence that he came across the Vill. Maybe the Vill should have been tucked like next to the edge of the map if you're being like very critical, like Miniyeti. Like when he had that Vill just tucked next to the wood line, maybe he should have just done that. And obviously Saymyname sending the villager in. Saymyname villager required a second villager from Saymyname. But yeah, that meant that the barracks ended up having to go up home for Miniyeti, and then just Saymyname just able to get that bigger eco going. and eventually just led to a good advantage in the military. And it was a fairly convincing game from Saymyname in the end there. So we go to game 4. We see if Miniyeti can bring anything back here. Fourth map is going to be on Inside Out, which I think was Saymyname's map. Yeah, we can go back to here. So Inside Out is going to be the 4th map. And what did we have there? So the Egyptians were used by Saymyname against the Sumerians. Inside Out, possibly the Hittites is picked for Saymyname. I've seen a lot of players pick the Romans on Inside Out as well, just to try and get a bit of Tool Age aggression going. The Romans are fairly good at that because they can back it up with a couple of forward towers. And Miniyeti, maybe he goes for just the eco, maybe he just goes for Babylonian. It's got a few interesting choices here. Quite a few players do like to try and play the Tool Age in Inside Out, just because your base is quite close to your opponent. Though obviously each player has the chance of sort of escaping to the outer ring to try and keep themselves in the game if the Tool Age is going a little bit awry. But yeah, I won't speculate for too long. We'll just get ourselves... Okay, so needlework, for anyone anywhere... Sorry, I'm not sure when you asked that question, Rihishi. But basically we're running the game on a community mod version of the game, and needlework is a technology sort of a bit like Loom. You can research it from the town centre in the Tool Age, and it gives your villagers +1 attack and +10 HP. The +1 attack just so you can try and fight back against military units that have the +2 armour in right at the start of the game, so your villagers can do 2 damage instead of just the 1, and then the +10 HP is obviously just to make your villagers a little bit less squishy, so a little bit less vulnerable to raids in the early game. Just because we found there was a lot of games that were just being decided by a couple of axes just getting into your wood line, just winning the game on the spot, so we decided to add that tech in, so that wasn't as easy of a win condition, I guess. So yeah, just I think have I got in my description? I think there's a link to the patch details for anyone not familiar with the patch. You can always click that little button down just in the details below the stream. Fairly sure I've got that in there. But anyway, game 4, Inside Out, and it is going to be the Hittites from Saymyname. It is going to be the Babylonians as the response. So we won't see the Tool Age shenanigans. Looks like we will play towards the Bronze Age. Although that said, the Babylonians can still go for an okay slinger push. Obviously, they get the cheaper market tech to get that stone mining in nice and early, as well as the faster stone income if you want to just keep spamming the slingers. You can get a few barracks in just to keep it. Obviously, it's only 10 stone for slingers. You don't really need that many vills on slingers. Stone to get that production on slingers going. But it is nice to, if you want to like add in a couple of towers as well for it. A bit like with the Romans, like I was saying. I think the Romans usually a little bit more all-round stronger right from the start, just because that wood bonus applying to all the buildings is quite nice. But then the Babylonians have a much better Bronze Age than the Romans, in my opinion, at least. And obviously the Babylonians do match quite well into the Hittites. You can just go double chariot units with Babylonians, with the regular chariot as well as the chariot archer, and match up quite well into the Hittites with that unit combination. And we'll see if there is any early game shenanigans. Obviously from the Hittites you don't tend to see much in the Tool Age because they don't get the slinger themselves. One of the 2 civilizations in the game that don't get the slinger, the other being the Assyrians. Both of those civilizations having good archer bonuses, I guess that was their way of sort of trying to balance that out a bit when the devs added the slinger to the game in the original Rise of Rome expansion. The slinger was added there and decided that the civs that already had good ranged units didn't need another ranged unit. So in DE, at least, that made the non-slinger civ's pretty bad because this thing over is very strong in Age of Empires 1D. Units in the Tool Age are quite a lot better balanced in Return of Rome. It's one of the main reasons I prefer this version of the game, but obviously I'm a little bit biased as I'm here casting for this game. And okay, so both players have 1 extra berry forward. Obviously both players get 2 extra berry patches. Sometimes they can spawn both at the back. Sometimes they can spawn both at the front if you're very unlucky, but that's a little bit unusual. But both with 1 forward and 1 back in this situation. It's quite usual for players to try and find those and put a granary an extra granary down, I should say. Obviously, put a granary on their starting berries. But before going for those farms, they'll try and get those berries in. And that's storage pits. Not on the best for wood, but obviously it does mean Miniyeti will have access to stone as well, which I guess is probably the reason for that, because he can see that the wood lines are very thin. Normally, a player will place storage pits on the wood lines on the sort of edge either side, like here you can see. Saymyname has actually got quite a nice one tucked in. We'll be able to get that wood on that side of the storage pit as well. So that would be quite an efficient storage pit for wood for quite some time if the game were to go long. Like I said, I don't expect... Okay, Miniyeti is actually going up on 20 vils. Obviously, if you're going for a fast bronze, it's normally sort of 20, 22, 23, 24 vils is what you expect for a fast bronze, which looks like is more what Saymyname is going for. There's no... See, there's quite a few villagers on wood, so maybe it is going to be a Tool Age push from Miniyeti. The first barracks, okay, not down yet, but Miniyeti sending a villager forward, so it looks like it is going to be a Tool Age push from Miniyeti. Sometimes it's quite difficult to get these to fully work at 20 vils, just because, like I said, do kind of escape out the back of the base. Sometimes you need to go up at 18 or 19 vils. Vils path the other way around, by the way. I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that, but... So they path around the edge of the map, is that what you're saying? But anyway, second barracks is coming down. Couple of clubbers in queue to working being added before adding those slingers in. And yeah, he's just still trying to find exactly where his opponent is. He's like on the left side here. Obviously he went exactly opposite, but there we go. That's the third barracks coming down. And do we have the market down yet is the question I'm thinking. Not just yet. Just trying to get that unit production going for the time being. Obviously, you do need to leave yourself 50 stone to actually research stone mining. But stable going up for Saymyname, but he is probably going to be... Yeah, Saymyname is going to be able to click Bronze Age fairly quick. He didn't actually add in any extra villagers here. And the second building is in now, and then that's the Bronze Age. And like I said, I think stone mining... Still, okay, is that the market there? Indeed it is. So triple barracks and then stone mining added in. Like I said, a little bit cheaper for the Babylonians. But Saymyname is managing to get this sort of secondary wall built up. I think this village is actually trapped now, but yeah, he does. I was going to say interesting, he deletes the wall, but indeed he does. And I think this will be more than enough for Saymyname to get himself safely into the Bronze Age here. Obviously, he's already nearly 40% of the way up at this point. Like I said, the early rushes kind of only work if you go like 18, 19 pop instead of the 20 that Miniyeti went for there. Which is one of the downside of the Babylonians, is their Stone Age is just completely generic. And yeah, he's just trying to pick his way through. One villager does go down. And yeah, he's going to keep up the push for the time being. But yeah, Saymyname already on the gold. And can just add in a few cavalry units. Yeah, he's already getting the leather armor for cavalry as well. Just add in a couple 3 or 4 cavalry units, so should be more than enough to clear up the slingers here. Unfortunately, this is starting to look like it may be a 4-0 unless Miniyeti can get this push going before those cavalry units come out. 2 in the queue at the moment. It's only the 1 stable for Saymyname, and it's very on the limit for resources here. There are 15 slingers here now, actually, so I don't know if 4 cavalry would be enough here. 1 definitely isn't enough. So now this is just a question of how much damage can Miniyeti do before the cavalry numbers reach too higher number for the tool age units to be able to contest. Komodo Dragon getting a little bit of action in at the back there. But yeah, cavalry unit wrapping round. Just looks like he's trying to pick off the reinforcements for the time being. Miniyeti hasn't noticed just yet. Now he does notice now. Trying to just take down the stable. And like I said, he's only on the 1 stable is Saymyname. So actually, Miniyeti takes this down. And that gets rid of the best unit that Saymyname currently has available to him. Like I said, these 2 cavalry not going to be able to do enough to deter this army at this point. Saymyname forced to run. Maybe I was calling the game a bit too early. Saymyname still hasn't got himself another military building down. Manages to pick off a villager. And I don't... Okay, is this a stable? Yep, stable coming down on the outside now. Like I said, on this map you do have the option of sort of hiding in the outer ring for the time being. And Axes doing a good job. They still do that +4 bonus damage to cavalry units. So if you've got those upgrades in, they can still be a good deterrent against the cavalry. And hammer through the gate again here now. And it's still just the single stable for Saymyname, so it's just going to be a very slow trickle of the cavalry units. He does manage to get the gate in at the last moment there, trying to get the wheel in. This gate shouldn't last too long against this number of slingers though. And Miniyeti just committing to the all-in. He does actually have a very nice eco advantage here. Obviously, Saymyname in the Bronze Age at this point, but not really being able to mass up the number of cavalry that he needed, like I was saying, in the early phases. Just having a little zoom out. Just the 1 villager needed on the stone to keep all these barracks going. And the second stable is going to get taken down. Another cavalry unit pops out, but their axes willing and ready with open arms. Komodo Dragon getting a little bit more action again. Saymyname forced to go on a big trek. Obviously has wheel in now. So this may be a little bit difficult for Yet to find. Maybe another town centre goes down. Maybe, I mean, yeah, he could just delete his town centre, build a second one. It's just going to be a storage pit though. And yeah, the stable going down again. Saymyname's still only on 2 cavalry. Scout coming out for Miniyeti. I don't know if you noticed the cavalry there. And even player attacked each other. But yeah, just trying to probably find those loose villagers. And he's going to find a bunch now. And here we go, the units coming round. And somehow he didn't notice that that was there. Okay, looks like maybe he does now. No, the unit's just patrolling. He did see the storage pit though. Looks like the units are moving here now. Saymyname going for a run with a few more villagers though. And Miniyeti not anywhere near going to the Bronze Age. And here we go, trying to get the academy down is Saymyname now. Just trying to get any unit out on the field here. At the moment it's struggling for wood. Academy will go down with that number of villagers trying to put it up. And Miniyeti maybe... Ooh, okay, here we go. Should be able to pick off a few villagers now. One goes down instantly. Wheel is in though. So again, Saymyname will just be able to run away with these. And the hoplites going to be quite difficult for Miniyeti to deal with. He's going to have to add in bowmen, which he does do. The bows do actually do +2 damage to infantry. So, Saymyname. I can't remember if the Hittites get the bronze shield. I'm pretty sure they do. Yeah, they do. Well, they get all the pierce armor upgrades, in fact. So he's going to need that for the hoplites. Miniyeti researching small wall now. Just going to try and prevent those hoplites from popping through too early. Just be careful with the bows so they don't get caught out by the cavalry. And yeah, these villagers still just kind of on a merry chase. Scout's going to be able to take down a few units out, though. No needleworking for Saymyname. Hasn't researched that yet, so the Scout's going to be able to do a lot of damage here. And now Bronze Age is in for Miniyeti. And I thought he wasn't able to push through in time. Saymyname just didn't have that second military building to get those bronze units out in the field fast enough. And Miniyeti actually in a fairly good position now. And what are those hoplites? A couple of them there. He's trying to bring them round to contest. Obviously, these hoplites move very slowly in the Bronze Age before you can get aristocracy in. And these few cavalry units just going to get taken down. Yeah, he's done everything right so far. Bronze Age nearly in. 13 vills ahead. Another villager gets caught out. A couple of houses going to get taken down as well. Saymyname still trying to get something done. But this Bronze Age has not been too kind to him. And the Bronze Age in front of Miniyeti now. Wheeler's going to come in. And GG's called. And wow, what a push from Miniyeti. Like I said, he's stuck at it. I thought with Saymyname having this number of wars up, that was going to be hook, line, and sinker of 4-0 to Saymyname. But like I said, just the one stable just meant that those cavalry didn't get out. And yeah, it's a little bit tight for resources as well. Just moving those vills onto the food at this point. Like I said, he only went up on 22 villagers. He didn't add in any villagers in the Tool Age for Saymyname, that is. And yeah, just in the end, just persistent pumping out 15 slingers. I think the extra addition of the extra axes made all the difference as well. Because like I said, those axes still do the extra damage against the cavalry. Very useful for just front lining for the slingers there. So very nicely done by Miniyeti here. And he keeps himself alive in this series. So yep, 3-1. We'll take ourselves to game 5. Signs of life. See if Miniyeti can keep that going. As I go back to the replays. So game 5 is going to be on Oasis. So we'll go back to the draft real quick. Hiya, Nightmare. How are you doing, lad? So, the Hittites being punished on Inside Out. I feel like that happens quite often to the Hittites on Inside Out. It's just the closer bases together just makes it quite a lot easier to close that ground and get those rushes going. So like I said, Oasis is going to be the 5th map. I suspect it will be the Yamato from... Actually, I mean, it could still be Carthaginians. I think either of those civs would be quite nice for Saymyname. And maybe it's just the Latvia here for Miniyeti. Maybe now's the time to bring that civ out onto the field. But I won't speculate too long. Get ourselves straight into the game. So game 5. Oh, okay. So it is Yamato from Saymyname. It's actually the Chosen by Miniyeti. So I wouldn't have... I guess the Chosen do have a quite sharp initial tool age. And those axes can be quite a menace there. But I feel like the Yamato are just the generally stronger civilization. The main weakness of the Yamato these days is obviously they don't have any Stone Age bonuses anymore, other than the faster gathering fishing ships. But obviously this isn't a water map. The very small amount of water does have no fishing. If you're going to be pedantic. But obviously they have a very nice tool age with the cheaper archer range and stable, as well as the cheaper scout, and that gives you very nice options in the early phases of the game. Chosen a tad stronger just out of the gate on the tool age, just because of the higher HP axes and the cheaper storage pit techs, but that bonus kind of doesn't feel like it does too much into a longer tool age. It can help if you want to go scouts as well. Obviously the scouts benefiting from those storage pit cheaper upgrades as well for the Chosen. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Saymyname has, I've seen him in quite a few games go for scouts and pull those off. He's good at like micromanaging the scouts, so he doesn't just like throw units away. Scouts are very strong. I don't know, they're still very expensive, and I think with needlework you still have to do some work for the scouts to get the job done. But obviously when the maps are a lot more open, or a much stronger unit, that's for sure. But yeah, both players very open bases here. No easy walls here. You have to kind of rely on towers a bit more in these maps, and just trying to have little pockets of eco. You can try to like have storage pits and wood and just like wall your villas in, but then obviously that does always leave you vulnerable to a follow-up from bows, which is one of the reasons Yamato are so strong, just because they have that very good scout rush, one of the strongest of any of the civs in the game, and then they can very quickly follow that up with bows as well, just because of how cheap those military buildings are. And villager already going out to have a look around for Saymyname. I don't think he's looking for elephants. I think this is a forward vill now. A little bit of extra idle TC time for Miniyeti. Storage pit going to go up pretty near the TC. That means, I guess, if the wood line gets caught out, they can just run to the defence of the town centre if needed. But Miniyeti not going for a forward vill himself, which is a little bit interesting as the Chosen, just because, like I said, I feel like it's the very initial tool age where they have their small power spike. You can always be annoying with the extra range on the Chosen towers, although maybe Miniyeti is just going to rely on those towers to just try and defend and hold a position. But against Yamato, it's always going to be, it's often a bit of a struggle, I should say. And potentially, I mean, I guess Oasis, there aren't many starting berries, so I was going to say, I guess it's a little bit harder to utilise the lack fiat bonuses. There are the extra berry patches, but you have to go a bit further afield, and you're a bit more vulnerable if you do go for them. We have the forward villager, Saymyname just getting the resources for a barracks now. Both players actually clicking up at pretty much the same time, both going 19 vills. Barracks actually being put down at pretty much the same time as well. Like I said, Chosen do have those cheaper storage pit techs. In fact, is Miniyeti going to find this? He's going to spot the villager. Barracks should go up though. Miniyeti doesn't quite notice in time, in fact. And yeah, the stronger axeman and cheaper storage pit techs just means that Chosen, first sort of minute or so of the tool age, should have a slight edge. And the forward villager are going to get chased around, so okay, second villager coming forward is going to probably, okay, yeah, it is a stable. I was wondering if it was just going to actually just be an archery range, just because it is the Chosen he's playing into. But obviously, like I said, Yamato very good with the scouts. It might be the case, like I said, he just goes for 3 or 4 scouts and then starts adding bows in after. Already a little bit of a back and forth as the first club is coming forward. I think this villager is going to make it to the TC, and it does so. Tool working in for both players. Armour coming in for Miniyeti. Cavalry armour coming in for Saymyname. And they're just going to house wall that, so the clubber is prevented from too many shenanigans. Villager, forward villager from Saymyname getting caught out there, but another one, yes, okay, so archery range. And like I said, Yamato just so good at that 1-2 punch. That's why they're so strong in the more open maps, a bit like Sahara, as well as the Oasis map. Tower is going to come down now. It's going to get harassed by the scout. Might lose a villager here. Okay, does garrison inside the tower in time. Needlework is in for Miniyeti, so we can try to hold, but then, as like I said, the follow-up bows are going to be the big issue here. Fighting back against the scouts again. Good back and forth plays at the moment, but yeah, Miniyeti definitely. He's not actually managed to get the Axa upgrade in. Okay, there it's still a little while for that upgrade to come in. Already the bows are out on the field. Don't know what's going on over here. Having a little fight with the clubbers in a line and getting involved. Quite a good number of scouts here now, though. And Miniyeti, like I said, he's got a lot of wood. He just doesn't have, I guess, yeah, he's just trying to keep his villagers safe, and this wood line's the only place he's got safe at the moment. If he had, like, a pocket of berries at the back, that would have been quite nice for him, but obviously his extra berries up the top side might just literally have to be like a granary and farms. He doesn't have the market yet, though. Already losing houses. He's going to get pop-capped fairly soon. Yeah, Saymyname not even really, he's just adding in. Okay, no, yeah, he's going to keep adding scouts in. I was thinking maybe he just starts adding eco at this point. We do have to see a couple of scouts actually in from Miniyeti. I'm not exactly sure where he snuck those out from, as I didn't actually see the stable's there, I just missed it. He's going to try and get on the wood line. Needlework is in for Saymyname though. And 2 scouts not going to be enough to really fight underneath the tower there. Yeah, market is going down. But yeah, Miniyeti basically being off of food for most of the tool age now. Does find an extra berry patch. He's putting a granary up now. And yeah, just trying to get some extra houses in. He's housed at the moment, and the house is going to go down though. Yeah, just scrambling. Just try and do something to keep himself in the game here, keep himself in the series. That's a good catch. It's a good catch on the granary there. It's going to take down a couple of villagers here. Or maybe just the one, actually. Doesn't quite manage to finish that one off. Like I said, with the needlework in, scouts take a few hits to take those villagers down. So yeah, Miniyeti just about keeping himself in the game for the time being. Just those few scouts acting a little bit as enough of a distraction for the time being. And villager a little hid in the corner there. Might have to delete that house to let himself out, but Bo's now trying to get round, punish the villagers. It was interesting, Miniyeti deleted the house there. Tower, like I said, +2 range from the Chosen. Putting in overtime to try and keep those villagers defended. Potentially, Miniyeti has the scout count to just dive under the tower at this point. We'll see if he goes for it here. Maybe just feigning attack. He's going to try and go for the slightly more vulnerable. But yeah, they can just don't jump in the TC is the problem. Yeah, a couple of villagers. Actually, I think it was just the one villager going down the wood line. Saymyname dancing back and forth. Scouts a little bit distracted. It's a nice villager jumps in, but 8 villagers are idle for Saymyname, as this game is pretty crazy at the moment. 20 to 19. Looks like he did actually manage to pick up another villager there. Okay, scouts have been pulled back now for Saymyname. I think both players have all the upgrades in. Yeah, they do. +2/+2. Attack and armor. Miniyeti, his little farms that he's got himself up with, unfortunately, is going to get caught out. One villager's going to go down, probably another. Scout's going to pop out. He might be able to fight this off, but he's going to lose a whole bunch of villagers in the process. And yeah, this may be the nail in the coffin for Miniyeti. There's a lot of villagers going down. Seem somewhat outnumbered on the scouts on the side here as well. He does pick off all the bows, but a lot of villagers getting taken down. Yeah, that scout's going to finish it off. Still trying to get some damage done. But yeah, forced on the back foot again. And 24 to 13 vills now. And Miniyeti had a frantic game here, and he's doing quite a good job of holding himself in. I think those vills getting caught out on the farms there. It's probably swung this game too much into Saymyname's favour. Quite a lot of extra HP on these scouts for Saymyname. Trying to, again, use the tower as a defensive stronghold. Scouts do come back for Miniyeti. They just dart into the town centre, trying to stay safe. So Miniyeti does actually have, again, the HP advantage, but more scouts on the way for Saymyname. And they're just going to go straight for the vills again. Miniyeti paying attention, but yeah, GG's called. And like I said, I see you in final. Nice little party message from Miniyeti. Like I said, Miniyeti obviously now does lose the series 4-1. But he does just drop into the losers bracket now, and he will face the winner of Bongo versus Unrestricted, which I'm not exactly sure when that's been played. I'll have a check on the Discord to see if that's actually been decided. But that's average. I feel like average APM doesn't really mean much. It's more like, yeah, peak. But yeah, Miniyeti with the higher APM. But obviously, Miniyeti is just trying to fight fires all over the map. Yeah, not using the Lakviat, potentially a mistake there. Like I said, I think the Lakviat maybe not that good of a sieve for this map in particular, though. Just because you have the fewer starting berries. But the Lakviat could have been pulled out on something like Dark Forest or... Yeah, I'm not sure exactly. So yeah, okay, you're saving it for Desert Ridge. Obviously, Saymyname had the choice of map in that last map there. But yeah, so that's one of the things is sometimes like the order that you pick your maps can sometimes be quite important as well. Sometimes it's like you're trying to force your opponent to use certain civs of theirs to maybe try and get some better matchups in some situations. But yeah, like I said, Saymyname taking the series 4-1. Let's have a look, see. Let's go on the Discord, have a look, see when the next game is going to be. Clash upcoming. So the losers... Okay, so they haven't decided yet. Potentially... It looks like they might be playing the game on Wednesday between Unrestricted and Bongo. If that's the case, I'm not actually going to be around to cast again, unfortunately. So I think it's going to have to be replay casts. Yeah. I mean, like, I'll go back to the draft. I was quite surprised that the Carthaginians and Phoenicians went so far down in the draft. I mentioned earlier for anyone that was in that stream then. Obviously, in my opinion, these are very high tier civs on quite a lot of maps. So I was a little bit surprised to see things like the Chosen and Mace being picked up over those, as well as even like the Romans and Egyptians. But yeah, obviously, players draft as they see fit. Sometimes the way a lot of people do it, it's like, well, I've got this civ for that map, I've got this civ for that map, and that civ for the map, and they kind of just... If you play Tool Age. Yeah, but I feel like Phoenicians is just more generically strong than Mace, just because they have a far better economy. Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying, but like, you could just outpower your opponent by just having a stronger civ than just trying to search for stuff. Like, the Alexa line of sight is obviously very nice as the Macedonians, but I feel like the Macedonians kind of only work into certain civ matchups. First map shit. Oh, did someone call restart? I only had the replays of the actual games that got played out, because obviously I'm going off the replays. But anyhoozle, I'm going to call it that for tonight. Yeah, okay, called a re. Right. Yeah, I mean, he does only get one restart for the series, so that means like if he uses it for that, then obviously it's not great for you because you've lost an advantage there. But then he doesn't have any more restarts for the rest of the series. But yeah, obviously, like I said, Miniyeti isn't out of the tournament. He will drop into the losers bracket, and we'll try and get the rest of the series organised and tell people what's going on. It will just be probably one of the games played midweek, and hopefully we get the wrap up of the tournament over next weekend. See how it goes. I mean, England definitely deserved to be knocked out of the tournament. Team was very, very lucky that Bellingham put that in the back of the net in the 95th minute. Okay, yeah, for the league games. It'll be good to get some practice in, get some revenge, have a little rematch there. But yeah, obviously, the other thing is, Saymyname obviously is in the grand final now. I've been talking about Miniyeti just because it's in the chat. But yeah, Saymyname, guaranteed top 2 now. And the grand final is a best of 9, but the winner's bracket winner has the advantage of a 1-game head start. So even though it's a best of 9, there's only really 8 games maximum that will be played. Just because obviously, Saymyname has not lost a series yet. So that's his like reward for winning the winner's side. He just gets 1 free game in the grand final. I'm going to have a quick look to see if any of the other guys are streaming. It looks like nobody is at the moment. So is KT on the chat, or Jesse, anyone that's going to put up a stream for team games or whatnot? Let me have a look. Looks like Thaya's got a lobby up and running, so if anyone wants to join Thaya for some team games, do feel free to join in with him. Okay, it looks like I said, nobody else is streaming at the moment, so I'll probably just leave it there for the time being and say goodbye to everyone. Thank you for joining the stream once again. Like I said, I think the match between Bongo and Unrestricted will be happening sometime during the week. It may be the case that I'll have to cast on replays again, just because obviously, well, maybe not obviously, but I'm fairly busy during the week. There's only certain nights I can cast on. So hopefully I'll see a few of you guys there. Thank you, Miniyeti, for the interesting games. Yeah, I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye. Or if you do, go double stable, not just one stable. See you later.